Hi, this is rickysun. I'm a Pi consultant. In this video, I'm going to talk about the Pi-Ace replacement. And before we jump into Pi-Ace replacement, what is a Pi-Ace? Pi-Ace is embedded with Visual Studio, right? So it can allow you to generate calculation from programming, VBA, right? Visual Basics, to allow you to write complex calculation and push the data to the Pi system. So this is a product that has exists for a long time, and it become obsolete because it no longer supported product from Aveva. And GTS Group has come up with this product. It's kind of like we engineer everything, and then it is a very good replacement that can extend Pi analytics.
So you're familiar with Pi-Ace?
Yeah, Pi-Ace is Visual Studio, embedded in Visual Studio.
Yep. This is your Pi-Ace code in Visual Studio.
You go through the whole. I've got the Pi-Ace wizard, and I can create new calculations, edit an existing one, debug it, test it, register, all that stuff. And this is the actual code for a calculation. So what we've done is, because ACE is
Retired this year, it's going out of support. With the number of customers that are still running legacy ACE code that can't be migrated to Asset Analytics, so what we've done is we've created a replacement scheduling engine with compatibility of the ACE library. The Pi-Ace Net module contains the Pi-Ace point object, Pi-Ace built-in functions. We've done our own implementation of those, all based on the AF SDK instead of the legacy Pi SDK.
So can I just copy and paste this code into the new?
Almost. Yep. Okay. So on the left, this is that's that code that I did in Visual Studio. On the right is what we've had to change for G#.
Oh, you have to swap the library? Yeah.
Yep, so we swapped the library, and you can see that there really are any minor changes that we've done. So this one, for example, in ACE, a context is a Pi module in the module database.
Yeah.
And so in the module database, you access Pi properties by name. In G#, which is our replacement product, your context is the asset framework, so it's an AF element. So therefore, instead of attaching Pi properties, we're getting attributes from the AF element. So you have to make a minor change like that. Other things like where function might take in or return a Pi SDK object, we've rewritten those so that it's AF equivalent objects.
So do they need to utilize AF? Because Pi-Ace is totally tag-based.
It's actually Pi module database based. You do have the option of pointing it to the little Pi tags, but then it becomes difficult to use it in a context manner. If you were using the Pi module database, that was the precursor to AF. So you could create these objects modules that represented a pump or a tank or whatever. If you've got a fleet of 50 of those, so long as they had the same Pi properties and the same Pi aliases, then you could contextualize those calculations.
I didn't know you have to have a module database structure to use Pi-Ace.
Damn straight you did, yes.
Oh, really?
So yes, you could do it by referencing Pi tags, but then, as I said, then you could create this idea of context. So this particular calculation, which has 522 contexts.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's a single calculation. So these are all pump station wet wells. Instead, 522 of them. If you did it tag by tag, you would be creating a new calculation for each one because you pointed to specific tags. So as I said, we've moved away from that because Pi SDK, Pi module database, they're completely deprecated. AF is that system of record.
So it's like the requirement is they have to have a module database well structured like an AF, and then they have an AF. Or do they need to replicate the module database to AF?
That will depend. Most customers these days, the module database is legacy in their systems, and they might have an asset framework database that encapsulates all of their assets. If that's the case, when they migrate to this, they would have to recreate the context in this manager. Context, this module, the daily averages, there are 2 points in that calculation. The sulfur dioxide 24-hour average and the sulfur dioxide 5-minute average. 5-minute average in this instance is the input point, and the 24-hour average is the output point. Notice that these are AF attributes, so those references to AF attributes. properties. The context is this full path to an AF element. By creating those contexts, we go in and have a look at the contexts themselves. Each one of those
corresponds to one of these asset framework stations. And these are templatized.
They have a set of attributes and various other properties. So that is now the context layer. If you're interested, let me play you my little video. It shows you
what it takes to actually update your code and migrate. Here we are going through the concept of editing our PyAce application.
So that's how you create an ACE.
That's application.
Yeah.
Now I've copied that and I've opened up a newer version of Visual Studio.
Yeah.
Notice that we've got the reference to ACE,
Yeah.
and these objects are all based on that import. We're going to delete the ACE and the PySDK references together and add our references, which includes a reference to the AFSDK.
So there is a GTS
Yep.
group
Yep.
software.
Yep. Now all I have to do is change this import to use our namespace library, and all of a sudden, PySNet class module resolves, PySPoint resolves. Notice that they are references to our DLL,
Yeah.
and then all we do is go in and change. So, like with the message log level, you always had to use that full.
Oh yeah, the
namespace.
OSI of PyAce, you have to get rid of that.
We get rid of that because we've got our own implementation of the PyAce built-in functions.
Yeah.
We now have to change the Py properties here because the context is an AF element.
Yeah.
So now we're going to change to the attributes collection.
Okay.
A slight change there in AF, use the get value method and then a particular value property to get the value.
Is your company supporting the client to migrate as well?
if they need it and if they want it. Some of the customers that we've spoken to in Australia, they've got in-house developers that have developed and maintained their ACE code with a little bit of coaching and saying, well, this is what it takes. Some of those will do it themselves. Other customers, we will do the migration.
I'm sure my customer will give it a try, see how difficult it is to do it, and if these challenges, if they want an option here, we can help them. This reduces your time to convert. If you charge them, it's not going to be crazy.
To be honest with you, from our perspective, we're not looking at doing a lot of engineering for customers to convert their code. If they want us to do it, absolutely. Someone like yourself could do that. If you had a customer that's using ACE and they said, "We've seen this, we want to migrate to it. Can you help us migrate our code?" Again, you've seen how easy it is. I mean, migrating that one took about 2 minutes. Some code is going to be more complex, but because we've got that full compatibility library,
And you try to reuse the name too.
that's part of the compatibility. That's
Whatever they have inside the library.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you look at this code, for example, so here I have a PyAce point. Let's just make a quick change to that for the moment.
The PyAce point has a couple of methods, a whole bunch of properties. So we've implemented all of those same methods and properties.
Wow.
The signatures are all the same.
With the exception of a few properties.
Maybe the value one. The
Well,
value and you have to go get value and then
No,
value.
we actually haven't changed the method
okay.
signature for that. There are some that, for example, DigState, that one returns PySDK digital state object. Okay, so we've made a change to the method signature because we're now returning an AF enumeration value, which is the AF SDK equivalent. The function name is the same. The signature in terms of what it takes in is the same, but the return object will be different. Those differences are documented for the developers so that we highlight, hey, this is going to be slightly different from what's in the code. That's what you'll need to refactor. We're actually looking to develop a very simple analysis tool that will just scan your source code and pour on highlight. These are the lines of code you need to change because there's been a slight change to the method or the return value. Just to make it easy, especially if you've got a larger, more complex calculation.
Well, thanks for showing me all these. It's pretty cool. So that's a good point. Like ACE is the commission, but GTS is also making it available at some point again, right? So
Even if you don't use ACE, if you're looking for an option to write complex and overheaded PyAce programming artifacts, G# will allow you to do that because it provides that core scheduling engine. You can say, my context is these parts of my asset framework model. It will manage that context for you. You're free to go ahead and write your complex calculations, deploy them, get them scheduled. Choice of clock scheduling, natural scheduling, so triggering off PyTag events, we even introduced cron scheduling. So for those that like to do dangerously or come from the Unix world, cron is a great way to schedule as
And
well.
you measure C#,
So the product is called G#.
G#. Okay.
If you want to write a brand new analysis without using the A stuff,
Yeah.
you've got your choice of .NET languages. VB.NET, C#,
Oh, it's
F#.
available for all the languages.
any .NET language.
Ah.
Because at the end of the day, when you compile a .NET assembly, all of those different languages all compile to the same intermediate language. Assemblies are all in the same intermediate language. That's a key feature of the Common Language Runtime.
Well, looking forward to share that. Thanks again.
Thank you, Ricky.
And then I wanted to show others.
Thank you. We'll be doing some demos once we go to beta. Produce some nice little videos to share as well.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ricky.